but not for the reasons you might think. And well, if you got mad at the title and thumbnail of this video, you probably lack the ability to critically think. With the Natlan teaser dropping in 4.7, specifically the livestream, a lot of people were talking about what Natlan was going to be like. However, I'm not actually here to talk about whether or not you think Natlan looks cool, the art direction, all those things. I am not here to talk about that. I am here to talk about how Natlan will negatively affect the future of Genshin Impact, and how it will make the game worse in the long run. So starting off specifically with the Natlan teaser, the dragons. And now, think of them as you will, I think they're fine. But let's talk about what these dragons serve in terms of gameplay experience for Genshin Impact. And what they serve as is pretty simple, and we can literally just speculate off the top, since it just quite literally shows gameplay of these dragons in use. They are there to serve for better and more diverse exploration in Genshin Impact and better traversal. One of the biggest problems that Genshin Impact is facing right now is the fact that the game simply requires too much stamina for its own good. Tower Fantasy was the first to really bring this to light, and Wuthering Waves just made it even worse. A lot of players are now complaining about the traversal in Genshin Impact more than ever after experiencing Wuthering Waves, with how the general movement and traversal complements exploration, which is one of the biggest things about Wuthering Waves, besides the combat. And Genshin Impact has already realized this years ago. Look at the stamina fruits in Subaru. Look at the grapples. Look at the fucking fishes in Fontaine. These things refill your stamina. They are aware of the stamina problems in the game, yet they are unable to actually just sit down and make a core change to the gameplay functions. Let me ask you this. If Genshin Impact removes stamina consumption from sprinting, how natural would it then feel after 2 days of playing? Probably, maybe even instantly. Traversal in Genshin Impact is so slow, yet the amount of required space you need to traverse is so large. They understand that, so, well, to compete against Wuthering Waves in this department, they've introduced these dinosaurs. Now, what is the main problem with this? It is probably just tied to Natlan. So, once we leave Natlan, what will happen in 6.0? Natlan has inadvertently made a new standard that now needs to be met. They cannot downgrade, they have to either upgrade or beat the standard. And the reason why is, well, because the dinosaurs are attached to Natlan. So if they don't find a way to, well, either meet the standard or upgrade the traversal, you're going to be back at square one. The dinosaurs are a temporary fix to a persistent problem, but because people voted with their wallets, they don't feel obligated to fix these blatant issues. And speaking of using your wallet, there's also better products to actually invest in. Like, look at Wuthering Waves gacha rates compared to Genshin, and it's not even close. Plus, with the generosity and customer treatment that Kuro Games has shown, people are actually more likely to spend money on something like Wuthering Waves, because they feel treated right. And also, by the numbers, which game is better to spend money in? It is Wuthering Waves, and there's no way around it. 90-50-50 versus 80-50-50 on character banners versus 80-pity 75-25, where you have to lose twice before you're guaranteed, so that is 240 pulls for the guaranteed weapon versus a simple 80 guaranteed. I know which game I would probably spend money on, and it's definitely not Genshin Impact. And it's even worse when you're not even spending money too. The general rewards in Genshin Impact when it comes to actual just gameplay are horrible. If you compare Genshin Impact to any other open world gacha game, they just lose out. Wuthering Waves? Yeah, do we really need to talk about this one? Tower Fantasy? Yeah, it's an MMO gacha, but I'm still going to use it as an example. Standard pulls on gold chest plus premium currency. As well as the fact you can literally just find limited banner pulls out in the open. And we haven't even moved on to things like events, compensation, you name it. Genshin Impact does not care about giving back to the people that made them successful in the first place. Which is by far my biggest point. The sheer amount of disrespect towards the players. Revisiting a point I made earlier with the feedback, we're banging our head against a fucking wall. We're not getting listened to. And guess what? Listening to your players, you know, the ones that are consuming your product? Yeah, maybe you should listen to those too. And the disrespect that I am referring to is all the reoccurring time-gated content in Genshin Impact. And how it is an utter fucking atrocity. Dailies, time spent versus reward. Like, are we actually gonna fucking sit here and pretend like this is good? Like, seriously. New feature where you can basically do your dailies only works if you have things like quests or events to do. And if there is an event or there is a quest I could do, but I don't want to do either of those, well, that's too bad. I'm gonna have to sit and talk to a fucking Melusine for 10 fucking minutes for 10 primos. 10 minutes, 10 primos, I love it. And don't even get me started on weeklies. Like, Fucking bounties. Tell me what the fuck I can do in the endgame with 100,000 Mora and like 40 reputation XP. I've already maxed it out. What am I supposed to do with this? And the weekly boss resets for the materials, typical gacha shit. But at least we have the bi-weekly spiral a bit. What? I fulfill. This is what people are defending. A game that decided to give you less permanent content.
But Imaginary Theater is gonna give us 120 more pre-moves like every 4 years, and then we get to give Hoyoverse 2 more blowjobs.
There are 2 fucking rules when it comes to discussing anything with me. 1, get that dick out of your fucking mouth. And 2nd, only applies if you broke rule 1 and you're a cis man. Reach into your fucking vagina and pull your balls back out where they belong, you fucking pussy. I'm not going to discuss something if they cannot comprehend simple game design. This move has taken the cake for me in some regard. One of the worst business moves of all time in all of video games is pushing Spiral Abyss to a 30-day reset. They are purposely killing their own player retention with this move. This will get players to play Genshin Impact less.
Well, why is that the case?
2 plus 2, motherfucker. Like, can you open your eyes? How are people defending these moves? Cutting off a large sum of players that are logging in every other week to play Spiral Abyss is now just gone. For no fucking reason. Spiral Abyss is like the glue that keeps the endgame together. Because if there is no endgame, there is no content. And I mean that literally. No matter the content that you name to me. Exploration, story, new areas, story quests, Archon quests, events. Like, I'm repeating myself. All of this content is temporary content. Once it's done, you cannot do it again. Except for some events that come back every now and then. But they are gonna be gone too. And the problem with this is that you can only serve this sort of content for so long. Stagnation will occur. For temporary and permanent content, you need to innovate and evolve as a game. Look at Honkai Star Rail. You know the game by the same company. They are doing this perfectly. They knew Memory of Chaos is not enough, so they added Pure Fiction. And they added more things to Simulator Universe, such as fucking Swarm Disaster, and then eventually Golden Gears. And then they also realized they need even more than that. So now we have Apocalyptic Shadow. And they also realized that the Simulator Universe in its base form was also outdated, so they then created Divergent Universe. This sort of development is normal in a live service game. Honkai Star Rail is a casual game as well. And if you like to think that it's not, you just actually don't know what the term hardcore fucking means. And don't even fucking get me started on the catering to newer players, because obviously yes, but let me ask you this. What happens when they run out of content? The cycle fucking continues. If you do not understand that that is a problem, you are fucking stupid. Somebody has to have little to no self-respect to keep themselves in this loop. If you're spending money on the fucking game, say you C6 a character. Now, you only have the ability to use your character once every month. You've done all the content in the game? Congratulations, you get to use your character 12 times a year, and you gave us $1,000. Go fuck yourself, and have a nice day. Think about it again. What is the paid content in Genshin Impact? It is characters. What is the main purpose of characters? Combat and extra utility. That's also applicable in combat. What is Hoyoverse saying that they don't want to add? More permanent content focused on combat. So how the fuck are you going to keep me playing this game if you're not going to give me anything to do? Because guess what? When people want to play Genshin Impact, they want to play Genshin Impact. And you're telling them don't play Genshin Impact, but keep playing Genshin Impact and spend money on our game. It will only take so long for people to realize, wait, Genshin Impact kinda, it's not actually that good. Let me just play the game that actually treats me like a normal human being and basically does the same that Genshin Impact does. And Natlan will only highlight more of these issues. In future games, and even games like Wuthering Waves, will only capitalize off the blatant mismanagement and the horrible game directing of Genshin Impact. And they will succeed because Genshin Impact isn't trying to, because they were at the top for so long. They got so much money, and they got neglectful of their player base. Just because they made money, they felt like they could just get away with doing anything. Well, guess what? People want to play games. And if you're not gonna allow us to play the game, we'll just play a different game. Genshin Impact is even failing to keep player retention as a gacha game, which is the thing that gacha games do. Keep you playing. And they can't even do that because they're not even trying. And these other games are trying, like Wuthering Waves. And they are also saying, we appreciate you for playing our game. Because Hoyo did the one thing you never do to your customer. Never indirectly say fuck you to the customer that chose your product because they decided to choose your product. Kuro Games understands that, and Honkai Star Rail understands that, and any normal fucking game developer understands that, except for the Genshin Impact team. And if you agree with what I just said, and you like what you see, consider subscribing, since these types of videos is what I do. And while you're at it, like the video to spread the word for the algorithm if you want to help a random brother out on the street, and leave your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time when I find something that pisses me the fuck off. Peace.